In today's video, we are going to be talking about my top 5 favorite houseplants, which, FYI, are all easy to care for. Hello everyone, my name is Daniel, and my channel focuses around plant-based videos and plant-based information to help you care for your plants. So please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. Number 5 is actually right behind me. This is a Monstera deliciosa. I've actually had this guy for a couple of years. Anyways, this plant is not hard to care for at all. It can withstand high temperatures as far as almost direct sunlight before it starts burning, and it can also withstand cold temperatures. So if you have this guy up next to a window and you get a cool draft, or maybe it's fall and it's starting to get colder like it is right now, then you're not really going to have any problems. I have mine in a traditional aroid mix that I make up myself. Again, link is in the description below if you would like to purchase any of those components to make the soil. This is one of the first larger plants that I have ever purchased, and I'm honestly quite obsessed with it. I just water it once a week, roughly for my climate, and then he just grows around the pole. That's all he does. Just grows around the bowl. Number 4 is going to be another plant that I've had for a few years, and that is the prayer plant that I found at Lowe's about 2 years ago. This thing was extremely small when I first got it, but as you can see, it has grown prolifically on this bookshelf, and it is just it's growing so quickly that I can't water it fast enough before the leaves start turning brown, which is where you see all of this crispy here and there. Some of it is because they don't like chlorine in water, so I highly recommend giving this distilled water or filtered water, because the chlorine burns the tips of the leaves once the plant absorbs it, and that's kind of where you get all of those little burnt tips. However, this plant still operates more than proficiently. It probably puts out 2 to 3 leaves a week and has done so. I've actually had to chop this guy back 4 or 5 times because he'll reach midway down through my bookshelf, which is actually pretty large, and then I'll have to chop him back up, and then he'll grow back down, and then I chop him back up and I grow back down. But the lemon lime version of this plant, which is what you see as my favorite one. I'm honestly not the biggest fan of the red ones. I don't know why, just something to do with that yellow stripe disrupts the green patterns too much for me, and then I just ended up not liking the foliage because of that. So that's kind of why I chose the lemon lime. I really want a black one, but I can't seem to get a hold of one. So if you know the best place for me to source one of those, please put that in the comments down below. So let's move on to number 3, which is my Oleander Syngonium. I'll put the full name in the bottom because honestly I can't remember it right now, but I actually bought this guy when he had 3 leaves on him. I've had him in extremely high humidity and basically lab conditions, like you can see, for the majority of his life since I've gotten him, which has caused him to put out leaves this well and this fast, and he's grown up the pole. I've had him for about a year. So to give you a better look, I'll take him out of the purple light, which has been getting on my nerves a little bit lately. I might have to switch to regular lights so that you can see the beautiful marble variegation in every single one of these leaves. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this variegation is unstable, which means that not every single Oleander Syngonium is going to look like this. I specifically found one that had every single leaf had high variegation, so that way I would have a really good chance of having a large plant and having more sectoral white variegation. Now, that is just something that I sought out myself. Now, I can do an entirely other video on conserving variegation and looking for that, and if that's something that you're into, again, put that in the comments down below. I would be happy to do that for you. But really, this plant, I bought it for the variegation. It's beautiful bright white variegation. It's like some plants you get an off-white, and I kind of am not the biggest fan because I think that just kind of looks dirty. I don't like dirty white. I want bright white variegation when I'm looking for something like this. The last two plants that we have left are actually rare plants. They are still easy to care for. They just need a little bit more maintenance. So number 2 is actually going to be this plant right here. This is called a Philodendron Splendid. And basically that is just a hybrid between a Philodendron verrucosum and a Philodendron melanochrysum. I actually could potentially be wrong on that because I have more than one hybrid and I get them confused quite often. But I am actually slightly obsessed with this plant right now. It is putting out a new leaf. When I got this, it just had one large leaf. This was actually sent to me. I purchased this from my friend Jenny. Shout out to Jenny. She's got amazing plants. But it is since I've gotten it and rehabbed it a bit and given it some care, it has started to put out a new baby leaf. Now, so we're clear, if you buy a cutting and it has large leaves, chances are the new leaves are not going to be as large as the one you're getting. I think a lot of people automatically assume that it's just going to start popping out with the same size leaves growing up a pole. No, you just cut that plant and you took the majority of its energy away from it. So it's going to kind of have to build itself back up from scratch, which is why cuttings, even rooted cuttings, are going to need a lot more tender love and care. So you should set the expectation right now that if you buy one that has a huge leaf like this, you're going to start getting really small leaves and you're going to have to put in the work to build that back up to the plant that you want it to be, which I don't have a problem with that. I actually prefer doing that. It makes me feel like I'm doing something better and that I'm doing something right, which in turn makes me a little bit more emotionally attached to my plants because of the TLC that I have to put into them. Some people don't like that, but that is my preference. This plant prefers higher humidity. I've actually got it in my quote-unquote laboratory shelf that has lights on for about 15 hours a day, and it constantly stays around between 65 to 80% humidity. But I just wanted to show you guys this and kind of set that expectation. This is the Philodendron Splendid. All right, so my next plant, which is number 1 right now, this is a Philodendron Soderoy small form. I actually won this plant in an auction, and I had absolutely no idea how petite this was gonna be when I get it. So I'm also gonna set another expectation for you. 99% of the time when you see plants in pictures online, you probably should automatically assume, like I didn't for this occasion, that the plant is a lot smaller than what you think it is, because a lot of the times, and sometimes this can't even be helped. This is no deception from a collector. This is just when you take a picture, it generally looks bigger in the picture than when you get it. Kind of like how the camera adds about 50,000 pounds when you step in front of it as opposed to when you're talking to someone in person. But I really had no idea how small this was going to be. I actually have this just sitting in the sphagnum moss that it came in, sitting in the container that it came in. I have not needed to do anything to it other than stick this little skewer in the middle so that it can kind of grow itself around it, because it's so small that will easily break. But my goal is to have this climb all the way up the stick and just have it go as much as I possibly can before I ultimately am gonna have to propagate it, which I don't think I have a problem with. I've kept this in high humidity. Honestly, care tips for this: if you get one or want one or have one, just make sure that the sphagnum moss or the soil that you have it in stays moist, not wet, moist. And then you can kind of just go from there, figure out what it likes and doesn't like in your environment. Anyways, that is my top 5 favorite plants as of right now. These videos will change a lot, and I will probably make at least one a month. Again, I would also like to apologize for being absent for a couple of weeks. That will happen sometime because I need to focus on my health, because if I don't, then I won't be able to make these videos for you all, and I really do love doing that. So, hand in hand, give or take. there's plenty of other plant videos for you to watch until you ultimately come back to me, because I want you to come back to me. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you for just sitting here with me and watching this, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.